Okay, so it has been a while. However, I'm back and I'm just going to talk about or do a little analysis, nothing too in detail, but on how I swam at the Bucks Long Course Championship, which was now last weekend, 2 weeks ago now, when this will be updated. So basically, it was only two people from could compete from a uni in one event. So it was a bit more, it was a smaller team that we took up to Sheffield than we did for short course. But it was good fun again, and I swam the 200 breaststroke, 100 breaststroke, and 50 breaststroke, all individuals. And then I was also in the medley relay mixed and the open medley relay, obviously on the breaststroke leg. So I've got the fastest clips of for the 50 and 100, 50 and 200, just my individuals. And then for the 100, I've taken a clip from a mixed medley relay because that's the one that I went fastest in. So we'll just go over those and yeah. Okay, so this was my first race of the weekend. It was the 50 meter breaststroke, so probably my second favourite race right now. But obviously it is long course, so I already feel a bit less confident on it than the 50 metre short course. But so I've been feeling alright in my warm-up. I had a injured right shoulder, or at least I've been getting some pains whilst I was in the gym lifting. But I didn't really feel it for this race, so I had an alright dive. I was a bit behind the main group. Not the best camera angles for me, as I'm on the outside lane, which we can't really see. But I was keeping up fairly well with the guy next to me. But as you can see, the pack is a bit further ahead. And my PB for this race is a 29.89. So that means I was only about 0.4 of a second off. And unfortunately, despite me feeling good going into that race and having warmed up well, I did not make any finals, so I only got swim it once. So no PB, so far at least, for Bucks long course. But I think it was an alright race to start with. I had it well with my coach who does uni and coaches the uni and also coaches at Nova. And we were talking about just a race in general. We kind of agreed that it was a pretty good first race. Good warm up for the 100 breast on the Saturday because this was on the Friday. Maybe had a quick back end, but maybe just the start was a little bit slow on the dive. And then, especially in a 50 breast, if you're not up there at the front by the start, even if you come back really well, relative to yourself, it's not going to be the best race. But I was happy enough with it, and yeah. So next up to 100 breast. Okay, so this is actually on the Friday night, because it's in the finals. So they didn't let me they didn't want me to do the heat, but they wanted me in for the final. So I'm in lane 2, if you couldn't see, with the kind of blue-purple trunks. So I'm feeling alright because I've already warmed up. I'm quite confident in my relay start. No DQ. That's, basically all we need. So I went on about, I will check in a second, but I think it was on about the 1:05 mark that I took over in this relay. But so my stroke rate's quite high here. Normally I don't go out this fast, because I went out in about, my coach timed me, I went out in about a 29, high 29, which is quite literally my 50 long course PB. So going out in PB is pretty dangerous. So basically I was just hoping I could come back. But I guess all the kind of relay adrenaline, being in the finals, kind of kicked in, because as you can just see me there, I'm still managing to hold my stroke rate and not slip too much water, especially come back in this last 10 metres. This is usually when I start, as you can see, my stroke rate slows down a little bit, but luckily, and then pretty big gliding. So yeah, I worked it out I went out on the 105.8 and I came back on the 111. So as my coach told me, I was at about a low 105, which my PB is 105.5. So, you know, the relay takeover is obviously a bit quicker than just a normal static dive. But I was very happy with that swim. I felt fast. You know, I was pretty nervous going into the relay. Obviously, like, it's a final and it's for the uni. So, but it was good. It went well. So yeah, I was happy with that. Now the actual swim, I think definitely needed a lot more control on that first 50 if I want to go even faster, because as you saw in the last 10, maybe even last 15, I started dying a bit. I've just actually done another gala just recently, and I had that same kind of thing where I started sprinting too early. So slightly different lead up, but I just die in that last 5 to 10 meters, which obviously the top swimmers aren't doing. So I'll try and work on that. But for that stage in the season, yeah, I was pretty happy with it. Okay, and now next up is not my favourite event, but it's the 200 long course breaststroke. And I was actually racing Mr. James Wilby. So any swimmers watching this will know. That is, you know, great British Olympic swimmer. But yeah, he was competing as a guest and he was in my heat, obviously, in the fastest lane, lane 4. But, you know, it's safe to say I did not swim quite as well as him. Okay, so obviously I'm no liar. As you can see in lane 4, that is James Wilby, so the man himself, and then me up in lane 8. Now, when I did this swim at Buck's short course back in kind of October, November 2023, I swam 10 seconds on my PB, which is not fast at all and is actually very, very bad. But this swim, I'll start by saying it wasn't as bad as that. But as you can see with my stroke rate, I'm taking way too many strokes. My stroke rate is way too high on that first 50 compared to every single other swimmer in the race. So I don't actually count my strokes, which I've been thinking about starting, and I may need to. However, I do now I swam a 200 recently, and I actually negative split it, but it was on my PB. So I'm getting better at learning how to control the stroke rate. But either way, in this race, I definitely had no control. I'm still, as you can see, I'm taking like 1.5 strokes for everyone else's 1 stroke. Big glide into this wall, not very good. Didn't even register on my touchpad. But, so I turned in probably about a 111-ish. Oh, just accidentally gone backwards, but ignore that. Anyway, so yeah, turned about a 111-ish. Now, okay, coming out of a wall, but as you can see here, I'm kind of dying. I've still got a fast stroke rate, but I'm just slipping the water. I've got almost no power left, compared to obviously when you look at James Wilby up there, you know, very powerful strokes, and everyone else in the race as well. They've kind of actually paced themselves on the stroke rate. So it was definitely a good race in terms of short course. Maybe you can get away with it a bit more, having a higher stroke rate early on. But for the long course, 200 breaststroke, no way. Which, yeah, I learnt the hard way. So my PB on this is a 2:27. The Olympic time trial, which I did want to get, was 2:26. But I'm not going to get that. It wasn't a crazy bad swim. I'm just coming on camera now in that green hat, but it was about a 2:32 I got, so not the fastest swim. I wasn't overly pleased with it, but you can't get them all right, and you know, I've worked since then. I've worked on my pacing. So overall, I did not PB at all at this meet, unless you count a PB on a relay, but obviously that doesn't count because I had a relay start, which is faster. But I was close to my times on the 100 breaststroke, my individual, and on my 50. 200, obviously I wasn't that close, but I already know what went wrong there. So for about halfway through the long course, halfway through the cycle, which is building up for Olympic trials, which I've qualified for the 100 breast, it was okay. It was good enough for where we were at in the cycle. So I wasn't too unhappy with the meet. It was good fun being with a team. Great fun being in the relays. So yeah, it was a good weekend, and I'm just getting ready for trials, and hopefully I can, get some PBs there.